And speaking of, let's talk to our friend Brian Baldinger. Brian Baldy, what's going on, my friend?
Zach, guys, how you doing, man? Good to be with you. I'm doing good.
Man, we're doing great. We got James Palmer, we got Baldy, we got it all right now.
I owe you a phone call, Baldy. I'm sorry.
That's all right. We'll catch up, James.
Yeah, I know.
So, Baldy, one of the things that we've been talking about the first 30 minutes of this show is Courtland Sutton's situation. Now he's not with the Broncos during OTAs. In your perspective, you've seen a lot of these, whether it's a holdout. It's not really at a holdout stage yet, but you've seen a lot of these negotiations happen. At what point in your mind does it become an issue, or has it already become an issue?
It varies. I think Courtland Sutton is an important part of this team. I mean, he did catch 10 touchdown passes last year. That's always double digit. He never did that before, even in some of his really good years. So I think he's an important part. And these players it's all business. So they're trying to leverage whatever they can, whenever they can. It happens around the league. They're a better team with Courtland Sutton in the lineup, regardless of who's playing quarterback, than they are without him. But, there's a financial component to this whole thing, and I think Courtland's played 6 years now, and I'm sure he wants, his bag, and they kind of need him, and I think he knows it. So I think it's probably a leverage play on his part, but when it becomes a problem, is he going to be in the lineup week 1 against Seattle? I think that would be the stage when it becomes a problem.
Baldy, I want to kind of shift this a little bit, but stay on the same topic. Because you're talking about his importance, and I do think there's not a dependable pass catcher on this roster probably that's anywhere remotely near Courtland Sutton. And I say pass catcher because I'm going to throw the tight end position into this. This might be the weakest tight end group in the NFL. And that impacts a rookie quarterback as well. And so I almost think that even exaggerates Courtland's importance. And I kind of wanted you to kind of break down for everybody the importance of that position to a young quarterback in today's game.
Well, I've said this on this station before, James, with you guys, that, when you really get inside the mind of Sean Payton, he's maniacal about red zone offense. Mm-hmm. Their blow up on the sideline, with Russell was red zone. They didn't score. And if you just look at the red zone pass catchers that Sean has had, in the past, like tight ends and big receivers are a big part of that success. And, if you're looking at Trotman or Dulcich right now, I would agree, James, it's not a strong position. And if you take Courtland Sutton out, like sometimes Kurt Warner told me this a long time ago, James. He said, you can design all the great red zone offense you want. You're going to sit there in quarters coverage and take all the way these. Sometimes it's good to have Larry Fitzgerald and Anquan Bolden just to throw it up and let him go take it off the rim. And I've never forgotten that quote from Kurt. And I think sometimes you look at the guys that Sean has, the tight ends that he has had over his career, like a lot of those are those kind of players. Where you could just go win jump balls.
Yeah, well, it seems like Courtland Sutton is that kind of guy too. I mean, he definitely is. Mm-hmm. But it also seems like the Broncos aren't willing to commit to keeping him for more than this year. That seems to be the center of everything with no guaranteed money next year. That's surprising to me that Courtland Sutton wouldn't fit the mold that Sean Payton is looking for. Does that surprise you at all, or you see something that I don't?
I don't know. It's hard not to like Courtland Sutton. It's hard not to like him. I mean, I remember when he came out of SMU, like all my friends were talking about him. They thought Cowboys should have drafted him. It's impossible not to like Courtland, the person, and the player. Now, I know he's had a couple of injuries, one major one, but that happens in his business. But, there's not many 6'4" guys with that type of body that can go up and play low post basketball, that's got a big reach, that wins contested balls. Like, he's fairly unique like that. It'd be hard not to like that player and his production when he's on the field right now. I don't care who the coach is.
You know, Baldy, we've been talking about Chris Jones and his situation last year and how the Chiefs ended up bringing him back after a few games. And, you know, the Chiefs were on the road to the Super Bowl and trying to win the Super Bowl. I think the over-under for the Broncos right now is 5.5 games. I think it took the Chiefs losing to see, okay, we need Chris Jones. He's an important part of the Super Bowl run, so we need to have him back. What do you think is the Broncos need to see to be like, okay, we need Courtland, no more playing around. We got to have him back, you know, to make this a successful season or to help out Bo?
Well, whoever plays quarterback, I mean, are they going to throw to Troy Franklin? And they're going to throw, I mean, I don't know what Tim Patrick's health is like these days. James, you're out there quite a bit. I don't know if he's back. I mean, that was a bad loss last year when they lost him, I think, in preseason. But, you know, Marvin Mims, does he take a step up? I mean, it's not like it's a deep receiving core to begin with.
Yeah, exactly.
So, you know, I mean, Chris Jones, I thought, was always going to get signed in Kansas City. Like, okay, he didn't play week one, you know, in their loss to Detroit. But I don't think he was in Cancun waiting on a phone call. I think he knew that the call was coming. And, you know, some guys just change the game. Chris Jones changes the game every Sunday. I mean, he's an unblockable force. It's, you know, I thought Kansas City was going to take care of him, and they did. But I think if you're saying, what's this going to look like, you got a bunch of young guys out there that you're going to rely on, and that's not a great formula to win football games.
Baldy, you're the offensive line mastermind, so I got to ask you about the offensive line. And assuming it is Bo who's the starting quarterback for this team, there's that connection with Alex Forsythe. He was his center at Oregon 2 years ago. Is that a real asset and benefit to Forsythe and gives him the upper hand, or is that just a little overplayed that they have that connection already?
Well, I haven't seen Alex Forsythe play in the NFL. Now, I might have missed games or whatever, or reps that he's gotten, but to me, he's raw. And if your center is raw or inexperienced, your offensive line is going to suffer. Now, you can say, okay, losing Lloyd, all right, he's not a great player. They lose him. Let's elevate the next guy. Your offensive line is going to be as good as your center. Now, the fact that he's got a relationship with Bo, that helps. I mean, because the center and the quarterback, I mean, I'm in Philadelphia, you know, you look at, you know, J.C. Kelsey and any quarterback that's been here, Carson or, you know, Jalen Hurts, whatever. I mean, there is a real connection that you got to have. I mean, it starts with the snap. Okay, I get it. But then it's you know, calling out the fronts, calling out the mic, calling out the blitz protections, changing protections. Like, that's all on the center. And it's good when the center and quarterback are seeing the exact same thing. And there is no confusion up front. It can be, though, if you don't have that sort of connection between the two.
But Connor Williams is still on the market, the center from Miami. The Broncos, as it stands now, it's Luke Wattenberg, Alex Forsythe, or Sam Mustipher. How much of an upgrade would he be over those guys if the Broncos decide to go after him?
Well, I thought that despite the injuries to Tyreek and Jalen Waddle down the stretch last year in Miami, I thought the biggest loss was Connor Williams. When he got hurt and they put, you know, Eichenberg in there, or whoever else they put in there at center, I mean, I thought the whole thing went backwards. I think Connor Williams, like, I didn't know he could play center until he went to Miami and they made him a center. I saw him play tackle at Texas. I've seen him play guard at Dallas. He wasn't very good at guard, but I thought he was the really good center. Like, I just think he's a big, strong guy that solidifies the middle. And I don't know what it costs. I don't know what his health is right now. I don't know if he could pass a physical or anything like that. But I would be interested, if I was Denver or maybe 4 or 5 other teams in this league, I'd be very interested in Connor Williams if he comes back really healthy.
But I kind of want to stick with this offensive line because I kind of like this chat here because obviously so many sacks taken last year. You can put that a lot on the person who was playing quarterback as well. I know Sean Payton doesn't like that and doesn't like the amount of sacks that were taken. And we know Bo Nix doesn't take a whole boatload of sacks. He likes to get the ball out quick. The rest of the group outside of the center spot, in my opinion, I don't think this is a terrible situation for a rookie quarterback to come into with the rest of the group the way it lies, especially if they are able somehow to run the football better than they did last year. But the group as itself with Quinn Miners, I know you're a big fan of him, and Garrett, and he might be in line for an extension here or not, but just the rest of the group, am I wrong to think it's not a terrible situation to walk into as a rookie quarterback?
No. I mean, look, they came together and played. There's a stretch when they won, 5 in a row last year? I know they were taking the ball away in record numbers and giving extra pass, but I thought the offensive line played pretty well. And I thought McGlinchey struggled early, but I felt like he got better playing next to Quinn as the season went on. I didn't think Ben Powers was a big upgrade at guard, but I think he started every game there. I thought they had a lot of continuity. And, we saw, Garrett Bowles is just frustrated. He just has, he hasn't had success. And he's pretty adamant about that. Like, it's sickening, like all these other guys are going places and they're winning games, and, nothing feels good about losing. So I know he's frustrated, but I don't think it's a bad situation either, James. I like to see what the center position is going to look like. That'd go a long ways to making me feel a whole lot better about this group as a group right now.
Yeah.
We'll keep talking about the running game and talk about these running backs. We got a good handful of running backs, and we just added Audric Estime into the lineup. Now, some of my co-hosts believe that he'll be the starter by the end of the year. I don't know.
That wasn't me.
I don't know if it'll work that fast, but, in your opinion, how do you feel like this room will really shake out with all these different players?
I like to see, sometimes it takes, like for Javonte, sometimes it's.
Thank you, Baldy.
You got to go away 2 years from the injury, before he gets back to what he was, which was an incredible contact back. That's what he was at North Carolina. That's what he looked like, before the injury. So I like to see what he looks like, because if he's all the way back, and I think he's your starter. I think Jalil's a change of pace back. Samaje had a role last year. Rookie backs, look, there's always this dance. And this is why a lot of teams have this running back by committee thing, because there's a little dance that takes place between the offensive line and how they're blocking certain plays, outside zone, mid zone, whatever it is, and the running back. Some running backs just feel it differently. They see it differently, and they start popping. And the coach is looking for a guy that gets that sort of chemistry with the line and how they're blocking things. And it's not a question of who's the better back. It's just who has the better feel. And so that's about reps. That's about, and maybe it is the rookie from Notre Dame. Maybe he gets that feel early, and maybe he gets the number of carries. But my guess right now is if Javonte is Javonte, like, he's going to be the starting back.
I love it. I absolutely love it, Baldy. We love your insight.
You, Baldy.
Thank you so much for rocking and rolling with us. And James, make sure to call him.
I will. I owe him a call. He left a great message.
Thank you, Baldy. Appreciate you.
See you, buddy.
Man, awesome insight from our guy, Baldy.